end of the Rashidun Caliphate. After the Battle of Siffin, the civil war ended in the Muslim Empire. Both sides were extremely guilty and forgave each other because they both felt bad, realizing the terrible thing that they did and knowing how many people in their ummah died because they were not united. But the important thing is that both sides still respected each other, and both sides made peace agreement with each other to make sure nothing like this would ever happen again. Finally, this was some good news. But as Caliph Ali radhiyallahu was going back to the new capital, Kufa, towards the back of his army, 12,000 people were still filled with anger and rage because they did not want a peace agreement. Remember the name Khawarij? You know, the group that really was charged of killing Uthman radhiyallahu and starting the civil war? Well, after the Battle of Siffin, this was the official moment when this evil group was born. They were angry because, with the peace agreement, they could not ruin the unity of Islam. Even though they caused so much pain and suffering, they wanted to destroy the Muslim Ummah permanently. They called Ali radhiyallahu a coward and a kuffar for making the peace agreement. They even convinced many people to hate Caliph Ali radhiyallahu. They wanted all of the famous Sahabas to destroy themselves. And that's when Caliph Ali radhiyallahu realized that all of this time they were just pretending to be his loyal supporters, advising him in everything and pretending to be good Muslims, when in reality they were the killers of Uthman radhiyallahu and the real villains. Caliph Ali radhiyallahu was in shock when he found out. At that moment, unfortunately, he could not stop them because the Khawarij group was already so big and strong. The evil Khawarij knew that all of the chaos in the empire started because of them. So they waited until they got extremely big and powerful and then left Ali radhiyallahu and went to Nahrawan, north of Kufa. The name Khawarij comes from the root word kharaja, which means to leave. Because it was at that moment when they publicly left the Ummah. Even when they left, they continued to create their own version of Islam by twisting the words of Allah and spreading evil lies. On the other hand, the people who were with Ali radhiyallahu were called the party of Ali, or in short, they were called the partisans. And this in Arabic translated to Shiites. What we need to know is that at this moment, this name did not have the religious or political meaning that it does today. At this moment, it was just a name. That's it. So, Caliph Ali radhiyallahu then went to Kufa and still tried his best to bring the rest of the Muslim Ummah together even after all of the horrible things that happened. In the meantime, the evil Khawarij group started to grow and grow. They started to fill the empire with terror and chaos. This group was so evil that they thought that if any person did not agree with them, that they were evil and a kuffar. And because of that, they cursed all of the famous Sahabas just because these Sahabas did not join their evil group. The evil Khawarij group wanted a place to live and continue to do terrible things in the Ummah. So, this big group decided to destroy the local governor in Nahrawan and take over of that place. The evil Khawarij would then go out in the public like the marketplace and would then spread the twisted version of Islam. And if the general people didn't believe them, they would take out their hidden daggers and swords to destroy everyone that did not agree with them. But at the same time, they convinced the general people that they were good and extremely religious when they weren't at all, because they were literally changing the peaceful messages of the Quran. Caliph Ali radhiyallahu realized how terrible and dangerous this was getting. So, by the year of 659, he built a strong army to stop this terrible group. This was called the Battle of Nahrawan. Before the battle, Caliph Ali radhiyallahu tried to convince the Khawarij about the true Islam. A lot of them realized their mistake, and so some of them joined Ali radhiyallahu while others left the battlefield. In the end, only 1/3 of the people were still in the evil Khawarij group to fight Ali radhiyallahu and the true Muslims. Caliph Ali radhiyallahu group attacked and destroyed most of the evil people. But unfortunately, the evil people of the Khawarij who were alive decided to create another big evil plan. By the year 661, even though Caliph Ali radhiyallahu was the only caliph at that time, there were 2 more rulers. Remember the peace agreement that was signed in the Battle of Siffin? Well, in that agreement, Muawiyah radhiyallahu was the ruler of Syria, Palestine, Jordan, and the Lebanon area. And although by this time the African parts of the Muslim empire got smaller because of the civil war, Amr bin al-As was again the ruler of Egypt and parts of Libya. And Caliph Ali radhiyallahu ruled everything else in the empire, while Mecca and Medina were independent cities. In this peace agreement, all 3 of them were ruling and leading the empire together at the same time. Now, remember, the evil Khawarij did not like the true Muslims and tried to divide and tried to destroy the Muslims with every chance that they got, starting with Uthman radhiyallahu death. So, for their new evil master plan, even though one ruler was in Kufa, the other in Damascus, and the last one was in Fusat, Egypt, they decided to kill all 3 of the powerful rulers on the same day and at the same time during Jum'ah Day with poisoned daggers. On the day of the evil plan, Amr bin al-As was sick, so he couldn't come lead the prayer. So instead, the person who led the prayer in his place was killed instead. In Damascus, the Khawarij tried to stab Muawiyah radhiyallahu with the poisoned dagger. Muawiyah radhiyallahu got minor injuries, but alhamdulillah, he was able to escape. But in Kufa, as Caliph Ali radhiyallahu led the prayer in the great mosque of Kufa, the Khawarij stabbed Caliph Ali radhiyallahu with their poisoned dagger. He was badly hurt, just like it happened with Caliph Umar radhiyallahu. And unfortunately, 2 painful days later, the 4th and the last Rashidun Caliph Ali radhiyallahu took his last breath. During this, the evil people did their last evil job and truly broke the Muslim empire by destroying the Rashidun Caliphate forever. Caliph Ali radhiyallahu ruled for less than 5 years. He was the only Rashidun Caliph who moved the capital of the Muslim empire out of the Prophet city of Medina into Kufa, Iraq. Out of all of the Rashidun Caliphs, he was the one who suffered the most. During his rule, he was constantly surrounded by people who only wanted what was worst for him. And these evil people tricked him, and because of that, he had no idea who his real friends were and who his real enemies were. And because of all of these evil people, they were able to trick the other famous Sahabas to the point where they started to believe in their lies. And it all took just a little bit of suspicion and mistrust with one another, which slowly grew and grew so big that both sides hurt each other in ways they never meant to. Even when Caliph Ali radhiyallahu made peace agreements, the evil people didn't even let him rule peacefully and continued to destroy the Muslims' unity in many different ways. Unfortunately, because of this terrible timing of everything that was going on, Caliph Ali radhiyallahu was set up in a position where he couldn't do anything to help his people, even though he truly wanted to. And by the time all of the chaos started to quiet down, that's when he was assassinated by those terrible people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive Caliph Ali radhiyallahu and all of the Sahabas who were forced into those positions, and grant all of the Sahabas who had good intentions to the highest place in Jannah, because at the end of the day, they never meant for any of this to happen. After Ali radhiyallahu death, his people selected his older son Hassan radhiyallahu as their next caliph. He was a very intelligent, brave, and generous and patient person, and he was one of the Prophet's dearest people. Hassan radhiyallahu main focus was to unite the Muslims and bring back peace to the Muslim empire. By that time, Muawiyah ruled most of the Muslim empire. While Hassan radhiyallahu mainly had control of Kufa and Basra, after Ali radhiyallahu death, Muawiyah decided to try to take control of Kufa and Basra. The new and the brave Caliph Hassan radhiyallahu united 40,000 soldiers to protect their land. Muawiyah then requested Hassan radhiyallahu not to fight with each other and accept Muawiyah as the main leader of all of the Muslim empire. Hassan radhiyallahu realized that for the past 10 years, the Muslim empire had so many problems because they were not united. And that's why the Muslim empire could not become stronger and could not spread the true message of Islam to more people around the world. At that moment, Hassan radhiyallahu had two choices. One was to fight against the Syrian Muslim army and continue to be divided and destroy each other. Or two, accept Muawiyah as the leader and help him unite the Muslim Ummah once again. Hassan radhiyallahu also realized that after Ali radhiyallahu, Muawiyah was qualified to be the main leader of the Muslim Ummah. Looking at Muawiyah radhiyallahu qualification, the second caliph, Umar radhiyallahu, chose Muawiyah as the Syrian governor, and the third caliph, Uthman radhiyallahu, also kept Muawiyah as the Syrian governor because of his great abilities. After a lot of thinking, Hassan radhiyallahu took an extremely brave decision and chose to accept Muawiyah as all of the Muslim Ummah's next leader. Many people misunderstood him for his brave decision. But with this decision, he saved thousands of Muslims' lives and opened the door to spread the true Islam to more people. Hassan radhiyallahu was caliph for only 6 months, but these 6 months were extremely successful in the Islamic history. Within this short time, he helped raise the Muslim Ummah to the next level and brought peace to the land for a long time. Because of Hassan radhiyallahu smart decision, Muawiyah was able to keep the Muslim Ummah united for the next 20 years during his rule. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward Hassan radhiyallahu and Muawiyah radhiyallahu with the highest place in Jannah. Ameen. This is the end of our first part of the Rise of Islam series. We can learn about the foundations of Islam from all of the Prophet stories, then the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's complete life story, and finally from the 4 rightly guided caliphs of Islam. In the second part of our Rise of Islam series, we will try to talk about many of the Muslim dynasties and their great contribution within the world history, inshallah. But we will be taking a break from this series to move on to our next big dream project, which will be to learn Islam directly from the Quran. We will try to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through each surah. Our research team will try their best to make it easier for our children and adult Muslims and non-Muslims to understand the Quran. If you would like to join this great project, please visit our website and become a monthly supporter to cover our monthly expenses. Inshallah, this will be your sadaqah jariyah with this great dawah work. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept everyone's prayer, help and support in this great work and give the highest reward in this world and the hereafter. Ameen.